Sounds good.
Hi, everybody. This is Sandra, Coach Sandra. I like to call myself, as I say. And today we're getting in your business with Lindsay Parker from Canada, another Canadian I'm interviewing. I'm very excited. We met organically on LinkedIn, which is the beauty of this platform. So I'm really excited because I don't really know that much about you other than what you post, which is so enthralling to me. It's so interesting always. And I want to know, I know you're a coach. What type of coach are you? And then we'll get into it.
Yeah. So by trade or by training, I guess I'm an integral coach. So it's a specific methodology that really looks at, it uses metaphor actually as a way of exploring kind of our current way of being in the world, and then create a metaphor for your new way of being. And through that metaphor, it gives people kind of a different view of a path that they can take from kind of that current state to where they want to be. So it's a really fascinating practice to use in coaching, and it really encourages a deeper level of exploration.
I think that's why it makes more sense to me why your posts are so interesting. It's kind of like you're writing in a metaphor a lot of times, and it makes it easier for people to kind of connect things. And
Mhm.
so I think that's probably why you fascinate me. Okay, so just now I get it because I didn't really understand exactly what you do. So what inspired this method for you?
Yeah, so I would say it's not so much the method that inspires me as an overall, but I've always been fascinated by human behavior, human change. I did my undergrad in sociology because that idea of how we collectively behave as humans just caught my attention very early in my education. And I think there's always a little part of me. So I don't know if you know a lot about the Enneagram. I don't know a ton about it myself. I've just done the Enneagram for myself. But
I
I'm a
I'm
four.
going to be honest. I've never heard this term before,
Okay.
so educate me.
Yeah. So Cole's Notes version, the Enneagram kind of looks at a core inner childhood message that kind of gets stuck in you. And what I love about the Enneagram is everyone's got a healthy range of how that message manifests and kind of an unhealthy range. And in the Enneagram, I'm a four, and fours tend to be very kind of fixated on feeling different than. So in my life, I've been really focused on how can I be more like other people? How can I be less shy, more open, less fearful, less anxious? And I spent all of this time trying to find kind of like the perfect human change system, right? So I was a junkie for change programs and self-help approaches, and some of them had, all of them had bits and pieces, right, that I could pull from, and that I really appreciated, but none quite seemed to hit the mark for me, and then also for my clients, right? So what I discovered is I was really taking a highly intellectual approach, right? Really trying to kind of think my way through, like, how do I shift these things about myself? How do I help my clients shift these things that they fundamentally just don't like about themselves, that feel limiting in some way? um, and I had this really fortuitous introduction to a gentleman who claimed to do this transformational process, instant transformation. And I rolled my eyes behind the scenes, not while talking to him. Uh, I've been in this business for a long time. I've yet to see something that's instant transformation. And, against my better judgment, I met with him and worked with him. And like I had what I would call one of those transcendent experiences, right? Where
Wow.
we went through the process, and it literally felt like 35 years of emotional baggage and stories and senses of identity just like fell out of me.
Wow.
And I walked away like with quiet in my head for the first time in my life. And
Wow. That is transcendent and transformational altogether. Wow.
absolutely, it was totally amazing. And I felt amazing afterwards, right? Energy, clarity. I had all these ideas. I was making changes in my life in all sorts of great ways. And I'm like, that's it. That's the way. And then, like many, those types of experiences, you kind of start to see the little bit of a slip, right? So my energy was high for a while, and then it started to drop, and the clarity started to drop, and some of the old patterns started to sneak back in. And I really realized, oh, I've got to put the work in to sustain this,
Man,
right?
that work.
I know it's not just a one-time thing. I've really got to, find my way of staying in that space. And that's really where I developed what my business name is and my approach that I use along with the integral coaching, which is connected wisdom, right? So
So
this
that is the name of your business, Connected
yes,
Wisdom. Love it.
absolutely. And the idea behind it is really that yes, we need our minds. Our minds are super powerful and they're amazing. And we need to find a way to connect both with our body and our heart, right? And in heart, I include that kind of soul or spirit.
So it all connects together and it feels full.
Exactly. Exactly. And in that space, when our heart, body, and mind are aligned, that's where I believe we find our clarity and energy. And that was my work, was how do I learn to stay in that space of open-heartedness, and really paying attention to my body and learning from the signs that it sends me. And how do I use all of that information on a consistent basis to guide my life? And so that transformation experience was a foundation. And then I had to learn, well, how do I keep that? How do I sustain that? And that's what I love working with my clients around, is how do you find your way out of your head? How do you find that clarity of purpose? How do you find that energy that it's in you? It's in all of us, and we block
Exactly.
it.
We're supposed to draw all that out in the clients, and that's the whole thing. Like that this talk about mentors and coaches, and that we're not therapists.
No.
And we do have all the answers, and some of us are able to find those answers more easily than others, depending on experience. Or that's why a lot of us, like I have a coach, because you kind of need that help sometimes to draw it out of you, because sometimes it's right here and you can't see it. Like my dog could not see himself. You saw that video today. But so interesting. Do you have specific types of clients that you market to? Like who is your ideal client?
A couple of different areas. So I also design and deliver programs built around connected wisdom. So I do partner with individuals and organizations. Obviously, in the organizational space, they've got to be kind of heart-centered and interested in that whole person development. So it tends to be rather progressive organizations that I would partner with. But at an individual level, it's interesting because kind of the market I think of for this is the overthinkers, the chronic, stuck in my head. Yeah. And me too, right? Like 30.
Yeah. Second guessing and is it good enough? And,
Yes.
Yeah.
So those people who kind of know, like, I think the point at which I'm a great interjection into someone's life is when they're like, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm tired. I feel like I'm stuck. I feel ready to explore some other way of operating. And that's where I can kind of come in and partner with somebody and help them find that clarity. And often I'm working with people around career shift. I mean, that tends to be an area where people really seek help. But sometimes it's also around leadership and, people who hit a level of leadership where now they're just feeling overwhelmed. And they're just completely at a loss for how do I get myself out of this? And they don't know how.
This is really eye-opening for me, because I have interviewed probably now like 10 or 12 people since I started the series, and I haven't talked to anybody that does quite what you do. So that's really interesting. I think that LinkedIn is a perfect place for you. There's so many people looking for work, or maybe don't really know what they're doing, and it is such a platform that I read a lot of posts on. I can't get hired or whatever, and maybe those people just don't have the clarity that they need, and they need this kind of service. So I'm really glad to be talking to you. How long have you been coaching for? I don't usually ask this, but it sounds like you've been coaching for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I started as a career counselor in I don't remember the year. It was about 20 years ago. And I happened to work for a woman who had a very kind of coaching oriented approach to that type of work. So I consider it that that's really the start, but in a really formal capacity, both in internal roles with companies and on my own, it's probably been about 10 years or so that it's been more of a focus of my work. So yeah, it's evolved. I mean, the coach I was 10 years ago is a very different
I
coach
would hope
than
so
today.
though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if we want our clients to evolve and also to evolve with us, because you know some people have coaches for years. Like I'm a fairly new coach, so but the dream is obviously to have clients that will go with us, but we can't take it personally when they say, no, I want to go in a different direction. I need a different type of coach. But if we don't evolve, how do we expect our clients to evolve? It
Yeah.
really can't do it that way.
Yeah.
But again, I just had to remind us, we have a very short time, but we got in what I needed to get in just to make
Yeah.
sure that we give you an introduction to people who may not know you or know exactly what you do, who may already be following going, I didn't know that about Lindsay. So that's kind of why I want to do this. I want curiosity for myself, but also to get people to please, for Lindsay, follow, connect, work with her. Her link will be with this video, obviously. Thank you so much for this enlightening, wonderful time. Thank you, Lindsay, for
Thank
taking the
you so
time today.
much.
I really appreciate it. Bye,
Lovely.
everybody.
Thanks. Bye.